Good evening.
Welcome to the marriage classroom. And this is where we keep learning, keep improving ourselves. And I want to say that there's no graduation. I hope that does not disappoint you, even for our viewers. Because what we do is we know that this is for our own good. We are desiring or aiming at making our marriages better. We enjoy, but not endure, isn't it? Yes. So every day we keep learning. That's why we are always in the class. Welcome our viewers. Welcome those that are on social media, whether on Facebook, YouTube, but also those watching us through the MBCI TV. Welcome and be ready to learn more in this class. And I want us to pray so that we also welcome the Lord to help us to learn and to understand. And so I would want to ask Margaret to pray with us.
Okay, let us pray. Dear Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you, we honor you, and we welcome your presence in our class this day. As we continue, that you be with us, give us understanding, help us to understand what our teacher will teach us, and help us even to apply it even in our home. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray and give thanks.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you, because indeed we know that we cannot have our marriages flourishing and thriving without inviting the Lord in our marriages, isn't it? When we teach about the, how marriages start, one of the, we use a triangle to show that the top person here is God. And when we have God here, and there is the wife here, and there is the husband here, once they become closer to God, the closer they become to one another. But if one seeks the Lord and the other one is on our own, they still are far from one another. So we are talking about our families and God. And that's why we thank God that He has given us another moment to learn how to make our marriages thrive and also glorify Him through our marriages. Now, last time, or last class, we were learning about, can see some of you, in fact, we were in that class. Yes. Yeah, so we can remind ourselves and our viewers what we learned last week. And maybe just a little bit how it helped you, maybe one or two. But we can remind ourselves, what were we looking at, so that we are building on that, so that our viewers and those who have joined us today can be able to follow. Yes, that is Salome.
Okay, we are going through the stages of marriage.
Yes, the stages of marriage. And we were not able to look at all of them, but we introduced ourselves to the first two. Which is the first one? We can have, this is Elizabeth, kindly, and just maybe so that everyone will hear you.
The first one we looked at, it was about the honeymoon stage or the fantasy stage. Yeah.
Anything you can say about the fantasy?
Is a stage whereby the two, the husband and the wife, get to bond together. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is a time of bonding, intimate bonding, and intimate life, and because the world seems to circulate or to revolve around the two of them for now, isn't it? Yes. Anything else you can add for the fantasy stage or honeymoon stage?
Yes.
Who is that? Yes, Dorcas.
It is the stage where we maximize our sex life.
Yes, it is a time where we say you maximize on your intimacy life, your sex life. In fact, let all your dreams come true, what you have ever hoped to have or to feel. That's the time we say to have and to hold, isn't it? Yeah, so don't come later and say, I wish I was young. I wish I had all the time. I wish I had all the energy. Because this time you have everything. The energy, the time, you are young and all that, kindly maximize on it. The second stage that we move on, anyone to tell us about the second stage? Sorry. Which was the second stage? We said the first one was the honeymoon, and just to remind our viewers that we build on that. And the second one was, Nelson?
Yes, the second one was the settlement or settle down stage.
Yes.
Yes.
The settling down stage,
Yes.
Or what we call the
Cooperation stage.
the cooperation stage. So in here, there is a lot of cooperation that is required, and we really had a debate or some issues that came up because we realized this is one of the danger zones of where people start growing apart. Okay, and the reason was, one of the reasons we said what the challenges that are there in that stage. Yes, Joseph.
Because in this stage, there are a lot of responsibility, and so priority matter.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Because the responsibilities now are increasing, the duties, the demands, and all that. And so the priorities may shift a bit. And sometimes if we don't adjust to those, the shift in priorities, sometimes others can think, I'm no longer part of that. And maybe because of what? What makes the priorities shift or change? One thing?
The
Yeah.
permanent visitors, the children.
Yes.
So they are handful sometimes. So you get that you are engaged a lot of the time as the wife, and so at first your priority was your husband.
Yes.
So your priority changes is the baby. You have to choose the baby first, and then your husband.
Yes.
So
and
the
not
conflict,
always. Not
yeah.
always that now the husband says, now I know I'm number 2. Okay? But there are some times where the priorities, as we say, it's not, I know there are those times when we have had those debates of men feeling like watoto wakikuja, wazee wanakuwa displaced au wanasaulika. Au hakuna mtu anauliza, unaweza kuja kuuliza watoto, mumekula? Mzee yako hapo hakuna mtu atanamuuliza umekula. So they feel like, kwani mimi ni nani hapa? I thought I was the reason why she came, isn't it? Or isn't that the same? It's not that way, Nelson?
Yes.
Yeah, you feel like everyone seems to be, anakuja naanza kuchekesha mtoto, baby, mami. Ukiangaliwa na sura imeshakujwa tena. And then you wondering, ile ilikuwa inasema mtoto, mami, baby, you know, smile at mommy. And then ukiangalia mwingine, shule imezaa, unashindwa sasa, what did I do? Oh, just to give her baby? That was my... Anyway, so the settling down stage is quite challenging. And now, this is where now we find either if there are some areas of mistrust, infidelity, can set here if we are not careful because of what we are saying, demands and responsibilities increasing. And then we have, because of this now, then the priorities, you must have what you call priorities. So if people can agree now what comes first, then I think there will be no problem. Or even there is an understanding. Yes, as she calls them, and I said it, permanent visitors. For now they are permanent because the time comes, kama wanakuja, mgeni yule anakuja na anakwambia anatoka siku gani. Okay? Because when I say at 25 they will go. What about if they don't go at 25? They'll still be there, isn't it? We find sometimes they can be dependent until 30 because if they are continuing on education, they'll still be home. So you cannot say, by 18 watakuwa wameenda. They may still be around. So though they come and they bring joy, and this is us to adjust, because if we find them again as a bother, then you realize that's why even unaona mama anaweza wacha mtoto, mzee anaweza mtoto, because they look at them like wamekuja kuharibu maisha yao. But if you had a good time at the honeymoon stage, in fact, this will be a welcome guest. Okay? Yeah. Yes, and as I talk to those who are yet to get married or are planning to get married, if you are there and you are watching, hata kama darasa ni wanadoa na pengine ni wale wanasomea kwa dirisha, but it's good if you're watching and maybe you are a parent there and or you are a counselor and you have a couple that are planning to get married. Kindly, I know sometimes vile tulikuwa tunasema mila na desturi na itikadi ya Waafrika ni ya kwamba ukiolewa the next day or even in the next 3 months mama, your mother-in-law or people wameanza kukuangalia. Okay? Ati what is happening is like they expect, or immediately the only confirmation that you are married, there should be a baby. And if you say you are going to stay a little bit, they think you are selfish. Tinyi mnajipenda sana. I want to say this. It is important that one of the things that you agree as you are doing your premarital and all that, unless kuna wale wanafikiri we are very late and you don't even have to use some of these medicines that people are saying they have effects. Getting the right counsel can help you understand that we have the whole time or we have the lifetime with ourselves. But it is important that the first few months, if possible, learn one another, bond with one another without anyone having issues like of health and all that. Because let me tell you, once you get pregnant, the ones we call the honeymoon babies, unatoka honeymoon ukiwa expectant, then mnakuja nyumbani, after that umeanza kutapika, kuamka asubuhi, hutaki kuona viatu, hutaki kusikia anga smell ya kitunguu. And then all of a sudden the man is wondering now, kwani huyu ni nani? Hataki kusikia kuona viatu yangu inanuka. Sijui kitunguu. Hata mimi amenichukia. And then you are wondering, because what happened? Your honeymoon stage now is already disrupted. It is important because you have a lifetime with yourselves. Get enough time to learn one another. Kama ni kutembea and just you have wanted to go to the coast, this is the time to visit together. You have wanted to go and visit your uncle here, your sister here. Visit those people maybe who never made it to your wedding. Just go there. Now, 2 of you, as you travel your body, you are knowing one another. But now, immediately, you have a baby. Now, it's all vomiting and all that. Kila kitu, you know those issues. Until you wonder, God, utaki kwenda. And so, what I'm saying, it's very important that we get these stages. All right, let's move on to the 3rd stage. And the 3rd stage now builds up from the 2nd one. And this is where now, in case here, in the settling down, we have had issues. No, we never adjusted to the priorities. And maybe the demands continue because now, by the 3rd stage, we have not 1, maybe 2 or 3 babies. Okay? So, it may not always be the same, but this is a time we feel like we didn't get what we asked for. It's like the bargain. Unajua wewe unaangalianga ukiwa kabla hujaolewa. Unaona huyo mama, mtoto anamsubua kwa supermarket, anapiga duru, unasema, "Hai, hiyo." Unafikiri wewe utapitia hapo. Sasa wako hapa. Mmoja anavuta skirt. Okay? Pande hii mwingine ako pande, nataka chai, nataka maziwa, nataka, and then you're wondering, is this what I bargained for? Somebody told me happily ever after. And you're wondering, this is what we call the disillusionment stage. But it doesn't have always to be that there will be disillusionment. What we mean is, sometimes the realities of what marriage life is, comes and sets in now. Okay? It's not 1 baby, now it is 2. And maybe now you have other demands. You need a house girl or a house help. You need something else. You need more money because the demands are many. Nappies, nini. So what is happening now? You're no longer thinking about your food. Now it is food for others. And all you realize now, life is real. Okay? Life is real. Even when you are sleeping during your honeymoon, not wondering what you are going to eat, because when I ask, what do we eat? Do you feel like eating now? No. Can we Kuna isinaitwa ini pizza. Kuna naitwa nani huyu anapitanga na motorbike?
Glovo.
What do you call them?
Glovo.
Glovo. Tunauliza uko na namba ya Glovo? Na una immediately hapa unakuta mnaletewa pizza au from Kenya. Naitwa nani yule wa these people were not kimchi. They what?
Pizza Inn.
Pizza Inn or this man of the Saudis, the one who of Kentucky. Kentucky, it's called what?
KFC.
KFC, yes. So, and you brought the bucket and all that. And that's all. Because it was you. But right now, at the Fisherman, you can't ask for a pizza today, tomorrow. You are told, oh, get little girl. Money does not grow. Or Teresa, you may not be told that. But then you realize, it is not realistic now that every other time you go to look for, for food elsewhere, you will have to cook. So that means you have to think what you're going to do. So at the decision stage, what happens? You really understand now that marriage has much more than love and romance. Sometimes when you wonder, what did I see? Because not always everything glitters, okay? It's not everything that is glittering, because at this time now, 1, 2, 3 babies, does she look like the bride? Anakaa kama yule uliona size 16 or size 18, the hourglass. Kwa sababu amekunywa uji, amenyonyesha, and all that, and you realize now, this is where you even look at yourself and say, mwingine alijiangalia sema, I look like a cow. No, it's not really a cow. They usually, because all alikuwa nafikiri tu, it's like I only have to think about being milked, because now you're being told, take a lot of fruits. And then I'm saying now, she say now, even Uji, I have a potberries, do you want? And all I'm thinking is somebody has to tell me, because of the baby. And he was saying, I feel like I am now like a cow. Ile inapewa tu majani, ili ifanye nini? Ikambuliwe jioni, ili kama sina kazi ingine. And there can be those times when you feel a bit disillusioned because of that. Thank you. Now, you realize there are those times the responsibilities are so many, like what we were talking about, when you feel like the only thing that matters to you is whether the baby has breastfed or whether people have food, and it's like no one seems to care for you. Then the man is feeling like, I am now the last one in that list. So I'm only remembered if everyone has eaten, watoto wamelala, and vyombo imeoshwa, and the house is clean. That's the time you remember you have a husband, and so he may be in his world alone. So that is when we find some of them either start coming late, wakute chaos imeisha, and like you have your time. But then also now the problem is now the woman feels like I've also been neglected. I'm now like a worker. Wengine wanafikiri ni kama ulikuwa unatafuta mkafanya kazi. So it is at this time, if we don't understand the stage that we are in again, and realize also, it is also for us together. I think what misses out in marriage mostly, not because the responsibilities are not there, but I think the feeling like we are not together. And that's where everything seems to go wrong. Because we get married and we are happy that we have our moments in our honeymoon. But when now these stages come in, it is where now it's either somebody is the one who feels neglected or the burdens. Let's say like now, a man feels like all these responsibilities, it is me. Pesa kila asubuhi, ya maziwa, ya guo, ya kwenda saloon, and all that. What does he feel now? I'm slaving for, so lazima nitoke niende kazi kwa sababu nisipoenda hakuna maziwa, hakuna nini, and it's like their demands. So each of them now may get disillusioned na anashindwa. Sasa nilioa, hata fadhali ningekaa peke yangu, ningekuwa shughuli yangu. Yes, nataka kusema jambo, ni vizuri.
Then again, teacher,
yes,
in the time of honeymoon, those people are very free,
yes,
in their own spending their life.
Yes.
After now, they come back home, they have a child. So you see now the responsibility have already started taking in that house.
Yeah.
Maybe in one or the other, wanaweza kuwa well up, wanaweza pata msaidizi kwa nyumba. The same way msaidizi amekuja kwa nyumba pia, some of the, kuna vile mtu anasikianga ako safety kwa nyumba yake, secure. Yes, maybe wakati hata walikuwa honeymoon, there is a way they could dress.
Yes.
So and you have used to do that even in your house. So unaona hiyo ifanyiki, kuna wakati mngelishana maybe chakula tumatunda na mdomo. I know that hiyo yezi fanyika. So ile body inaenda ikiendelea bando ku break ile mlipata during that time of honeymoon. So the more inaendelea kupungua, ndio maana unaendelea pia kusikia kuna something inaendelea kukutoka. Sasa mtoto akiingilia pale, ndio maneno pia inakuwa zaidi.
True.
Mtoto anahitaji hiki, anataka pampers, kuna mahali pesa inatoka. So ile time ya tu chips na kuku tukitoka KFC hatupatikani.
Na wanaambiwa siku hizi uniletee.
So there is a lot to look in our mindset.
Yes.
Then a man, that time they spend much time maximizing in sex, pia imepungua. Sababu maybe wakati vile learned from the other lesson ya kwamba mtoto analia na mzee bado anataka chai. Yes, mama hawezi concentrate because of that heart of a woman. Hawezi concentrate, but sasa mzee anasikia kama kuna vitu na nyimo, na it is my demand, I need them. So on that process unapata anaenda kazi kama amekasirika because I was not satisfied last night. Yes, there's a way I was treated. Hizo vitu zinaendelea kungrow kwa I think kama itakuwa ijulikane ama our sisters to be wise enough to play it, ndio itaanza kuleta ile shinda mzee ameanza kuona mfanyikazi mwenzake a beautiful lady mwenye kuwa anaona that time. Na hivyo pia itaanza kupunguza tena mapenzi ya familia tena zaidi sasa, because there are somewhere else anasikia niko much comfortable than where I was.
It's true, and we believe that the remedy is not si mtu atafute njia ingine, kwa sababu sasa hiyo haitengenezi, ni kuharibu, si ni kweli? Na tena hata vile amesema ndugu, wakati mwingine ni kweli tukiwa na pesa tunaweza kusaidiwa katika hiyo majukumu. Niko na house girl na anaweza kusaidia ya kwamba si lazima uwe ni wewe unapika, siwe unaosha vyombo, siwe unaosha nyumba na uko na watoto, pengine uchukue moja ili uweze kufanya vizuri, na tena ili hiyo wakati wenu mkiwa pamoja. Remember, we are talking about prioritizing. Kwa sababu lazima, we said marriage is hard work and takes effort. Kwa hivyo hiyo kusema itafanya yenyewe, hata yeye anajua. Wakati mwingine ni lazima tukumbushane. Kwa sababu wakati mwingine tunasahau. Or even sometimes our selfish nature. Ni ya kwamba vile tu in another class, mwalimu Gashauri alikuwa anatuambia tu siwe tuseme tukijiambia hata yeye anajua. Na kama hajui, tutaka tukimwambia anajifanya, mueleze. So ni kama ni lazima tukae tukikumbushana. Tukikaa chini tukiambiana yenyewe, wakati umeendelea katika ndoa. Inakaa wakati tulikuwa na nafasi yetu wawili imepitwa, au it has lapsed. Now we have more demands and more responsibilities. Can we see how we can adjust to this so that we still have time for one another, hata kama si mingi kama siku ile nyingine, lakini kwa sababu hii ndoa yetu lazima ifaulu. In that commitment, because I've said it is not just about priorities. It is, in this case we say, in this stage we say, you understand that marriage now takes more than love and romance, but now it has another part of it, commitment. We are in it together. That is the word I love, and I like helping young people or people to use, because that helped us in our marriage. There is always that time we used to tell one another, we are in it together. Si mtu moja, okay? I may have carried the pregnancy, lakini We are in it together, isn't it?
Yes.
Somehow, sometimes I may need help. We are in it together. We talk about even when a child is born, we say the mother and the child are doing better, but the father is recovering. Because there is also, he has to recover. The father is recovering, isn't it? So you hear that sometimes it's a saying, they say mother and child are well, but the father is recovering. So if we are in it together, then you realize anything that needs to be done, you may not do it in every way. Lakini si moja amehepa, mingine ameacho. What happens now? When the disillusionment comes in, one of these days we will learn also another plagues, or what plagues marriages when it comes to issues of contempt and boredom, where it sets in. It is from here. These two stages, because once now we are no longer helping one another, I just become a little bit cynical. I start having contempt. Wewe sasa ni wanini na unisaidii. Okay? Sasa kazi yako ni kuliza chakula na hata. You know, that is now where people start now becoming, having contempt with one another. But it's because at this time of disillusionment, we are not committed. We want to be committed. And so the challenges, as we are saying, there is the children, there is work, there is also that time we want to be together. There must be a balance. So, how do we deal with these challenges? Because one of them being the challenge of where we have everyday or life responsibilities. Somebody has to wake up in the morning. If the children are going to school, lazima uniform itafutwe, viatu, nini, wakule, wabebe, and all that. And you may realize both of you may be working. And maybe you have a house girl too. But you can imagine how it sounds. You are waking up, preparing this kid who is also saying, "Staki kunywa chai." Mama lazima ukunywe au nikuchape. You know, you start that way. Kunywa au nikuchape. Now you start the reds, okay? Mwingine anasema sioni socks zangu. And then you are there going for that, and then after that, then you hear somebody saying, "You've not had my shirt," or okay, and it's good that we have all that. But I was saying, like what my husband in the other class was teaching, he was saying this. Wakati mwingine ni vizuri kujiuliza mambo ingine, hata tukiwa wa Afrika katika hiyo itikadi and the traditions and the cultures and all that. As Christians, there are those times that even you are, as when you are, what do you call it, in your reality or reasoning, you can almost say, if I was the one doing that, what would I expect? And one of the things I keep wishing that we can all learn, and it is possible in marriage, is what we call empathy. Because if there is no empathy, and you have never thought you can ever be on the other side, you always think, I'm better off here. Yeah, thank God I was born a man. And so you can't even touch anything with your finger, because you are only lucky as you believe you are a man. But I keep saying, you get married. Imagine one day you dreamt and woke up and find yourself you are the wife. And all that you do and expect is on you. How would you want to be treated? In that way, we talk about empathy. Maybe you will never in your ever life ever be the other person, but it's good to think about it. There are women who wake up every day and it's like, this man must be milked money. You left 500, it's not there. Tomorrow I want and all that. And it's like, you have no value as long as the fact that you have no money. You can imagine if you are the one who wake up every morning, wake up, go. It's like you are being said, come, umeleta nini? Then after that, tomorrow, go. And then you expect, you know, and you come, leave the money, people enjoy, unakuta walikula pizza. You even had no break for lunch. Then you come home, you are the last to be fed because mommy, toto, hajakula. Naambiwa, si kwanza mtoto akule, and you are the same one who left all the money. Tomorrow morning you are supposed to go back, come with the money. And I keep asking for those women who are always sometimes demanding. Imagine it is reversed. Sasa man stays, go look for money. And when he tells you, I didn't get today, or there were no sales, do you empathize and realize that he never just went and sat there and he never sold anything? Do you know what it feels to go? You are a business person and you are there waiting for customers to come and they don't come. And you come home and say, I didn't sell anything. What about if it was reversed? If all of us can think and try to see the world in the other person's behalf, I want to tell you, those demands we make on one another will be very realistic. We will even feel, we have a lot of compassion and love for one another. Yes, sister, you wanted to ask something. Yeah.
On that area of if we can have a reversed role,
Yeah.
I think for us women we have this mentality that we say what a man can do, a woman can do it better. Yeah.
And that is a lie from hell. I want to say, in fact, it is never guided properly. It's not biblical. So what a man can do, a woman can do even better. I believe even for the man, it will be also wrong to say so, that I can do what a woman can do. We cannot. I believe we can only do what we can and do it well. And we are not in any competition. If we understand that we are not in any competition, we are in that stage where we are complementing one another. A man may not carry a baby, but he also has his responsibility, isn't it? So you cannot say, the way women try to magnify all that they do, it's a lot. It is true, we do a lot. But I also believe as a man, to head a house and to be in charge of it and the direction it goes, I want to tell you, it is hard work. Hata hii kichwa, unajuanga ndio engine ya trailer. Even train. Yes, so wakati mwingine unaona ikitoa moshi ni kazi ile inafanya. So sometimes wanasema amekaa hapo akifikiria. Ni vile tu si kwa sababu yako tu, kuna mambo anapanga. And we call it sometimes the empty box. Unafikiria nini? It doesn't want to be disturbed, but it's because kuna mambo. And sometimes we want to talk and he's quiet. And we're thinking he's not responding. Maybe there's a lot of problem. What I'm saying, I'm not defending them. I don't know, maybe you would come and say, but I think if we can be compassionate and if possible empathize with the other person, we say, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Then this stage of decision making, even when we have so many responsibilities, we can do what it takes. I've seen men who even say, okay, wake up, you prepare the kid. Mimi nitamfikisha shule. As you prepare, because you're also going to work, mimi ndiamuke, nijitayarishe, ukitayarisha watoto, nitoke na watoto, niwapeleke, kama kuna bus na ngoja, or if I'm driving, niwapeleke shule, nikienda kazi. You see what we are doing? In that case is where we even negotiating the roles. What happens at the end of it? Mukikutana, we ulifanya nini na mfanya nini? Hata kama mmechoka zote yote wawili and you are happy, it was your work. It is your children. Okay, nyumbani ile tunajua tunaweza achia mtu wa kutusaidia, nguo. Hizo haziwezi enda hospitali. Nyumba. Okay? Those are some of the things now you can get help. Pay somebody to clean the house. Pay somebody to wash the clothes. But there are some laws you cannot delegate.
That is true.
And once you find those roles, you do it together. Like for children, sincerely, there is always a joy. When you're there, wewe mami. Anda akikusubua, mami wewe unamvaliza socks au unafanya nini? Mtoto hajasahau. Usiwaambie tu atakila wakati, auntie, keep wondering. That watusubue wakati huo unafurahia baadaye. Okay? So I want to say this. It's very important. The decision stay. The other one is this. When it comes to issues where we have different of opinions, because it is at this stage. I've said we have, maybe let me just write for those who want to note. In this stage, we have said there are those demands. We have the demands or the responsibilities. We see how we can negotiate. and share them. But then there is also, when we talk about opinions and values and expectations, we need to talk about them. That is our views, opinions, expectations at this stage. Then we must be able to know how we can bring together those differences. Why? You have a child, maybe who start in CBC. I know of a couple that really have had issues of where to take the child. Your first child, firstborn. And sometimes people don't sit 3 years and it's like, you know, the baby now it goes to school. But now they have an issue of where to go. I want this school. I want this academy. I want this one. And you know, sometimes because of our value system. For one, we say, si shule iko karibu hapa, mtoto atakuwa akienda hapa and is safe. Havuki barabara, pengine hamna gari, na unafikiri aende hapo kwa sababu ni mtoto mdogo. Au utakuwa akipelekwa na auntie na bisho. Hapana, mimi nataka watoto wangu wasomee IGCSE system. And then you were saying, wewe unataka aende huko. Do you know what is happening? If you don't realize here, this is where even our background comes into play. Mimi nilisomea, mimi ningetaka watoto wangu. It's no longer watoto wenu now. That is where you even say my baby. Okay? Ni watoto wenu hapa wote, lakini hapa ikifika pale ataenda shule, it is my baby. So, which school? Sometimes even what, you know, what uniform and all that. So this is an issue where we need to come and agree, because this is where now, and if we don't agree on here, the child now is already seeing there is a contradiction. They start seeing how we are differing in opinions. We are arguing before them, apana, aende hii, and they have no right. So they might go with daddy's school or mommy's school. But we still keep talking, and they are hearing. So let's agree first before we tell a child what is our disagreement. Okay? Yes. All right. Even when it comes to time of sleep, you said, amalize aende alale. Halafu nasema, daddy, au mami, sinyozi, yoni cartoon, dakika 5. Na umesema, halafu anaangalia, ma. Sasa sia, wacha tu aende akalale, ameshaona. Amewagawanya. You had said aende kulala. Mama ameangalia, mom, umekubali. Si ukimaliza utaenda. So you've already disagreed. Now the child has already realized. So it is all right. By that time we just agree, okay? Dad amesemaje? Wende ukalale. Kama tuta extend, tutaongea. Then you go. Then after that you can agree. Okay? Once you agree, have always one united front. Because if you don't now, hapa ndio tunatumianga watoto kupigana vita yetu. Hata kutumanga watoto. Abia, daddy, hatuna sukari. You can't even say. Abia, so we use children now. Enda, kuja. Abia mama yako namuita. Na hapo pale. You know, this is now, in this case now, because we don't want to face one another, the children now become aware. Then they already know hata wanaambiwa. Hata akipigiwa kelele hakuji kuambia vile ameambiwa na mama yake. Au sana kaa kinisubua. Kwa hajui niko na kazi. Mtoto hata aenda kuambia, daddy, mama anasema unamsubua. Nasema mama kuna kazi. Unaona kuna vitu ameswaru hapa? Ameshajua. Nyinyi mko na kashida. So this is not some of the things that the children should know, because at this disillusionment stage, sometimes we can play out what we are not agreeing. I want us to introduce ourselves to this, but because of time, I know we will learn in the other class, or we will learn more because we have 2 more remaining, but we can introduce ourselves to this one, where we are talking about now. There is the time for adjustment. By the time we reach the stage of adjustment means we have gone through the settlement stage. We are going through the disillusionment stage where now the reality, and it's not that really we are disappointed completely. It is the fact that now, tupende tusipende, Now life has to continue. We are in it, isn't it? Yes. Watoto hawezi rudi tubo turudi honeymoon stage. Okay? So responsibility ziko. Okay, you realize you must move on. So in ile tu naamuka unajidrag, unajua lazima uamuke, mtoto lazima aende shule, lazima uende kazi kwa sababu you need money. But you can make it a little bit enjoyable once you realize how to respond here. So we come to adjustment stage because you realize now, if I go on like this will not be what I would want to have. So we have the adjustment stage. It's where now, because either we have unresolved conflicts or the conflicts have not been handled well. Now we can have some repercussions, which we are going to look at later. But there is some unresolved conflict, sometimes a lot of demands and responsibilities. They have increased. Why? They even become higher demands. Why? Because if they were in primary, the children right now are in high school. The fees is not the same. And if it was one, there are two or three. So the demands are not really going to be less, because at this time it was like we are getting a shock. Here we have to adjust because we need to move on. So at this time you find now there is the increased roles, responsibilities, and sometimes they lead to dissatisfaction, resentment, but you just have to continue. Maybe you have what we say, put a brave face. But there must be some decisions that have to be made at this stage. And this is very critical. I put this as the most critical stage here, because many weather through here. Children, young children, and the time they are in primary, but by the time now in secondary, university, this is where now either the adjustment takes place, and either that's the time you find even children keep saying, Mom and Dad have been fighting, or they have not been talking to another. Children now seems to know what, and they come even with fears. My mother and my father may not be together, okay? Because these are the fears happening at this stage. Why? Because decisions have to be made. There is decision made, there was a settling down. What do we make out of this? Because at this time you look back and see, what do I need to adjust? And the conflicts, either if they have been resolved or they are resolved, it might be for the better. And that's why we'll look at that. So I think we will stop there for the class today. I hope you'll be able to be available for the next lesson next week, so that we can continue and we finish on the stages of marriage. And maybe that helps us to know if we are here, what we should be doing, if we are here, what we should be doing, and if we are at honeymoon stage. Maybe that time I'll ask, what is your stage? Yes, if you'll be present. Make sure you'll be present next week, isn't it? Yes. So thank you so much and have a good evening. Thank you.
Stay tuned for the next lesson of the Marriage Classroom. To get the notes of today's lesson, visit www.mbcimedia.com/The Marriage Classroom. Catch the repeat of this episode on Tuesday at 10 p.m.